let's take a deep dive and examine how Raheem Morris is going to change this Niners defense. There's a few things to look at, and the first thing we're going to look at is the structure of the defense. It might be the least important thing to look at, but it's the first thing. Niners been running a wide nine as a base defense. Now teams are running base defense less and less and less. 25% of the time, the Seahawks run it like 0% of the time. They're just a nickel defense. So we'll see what the Niners do. But I think I'm assuming they're going to go to a 3-4 now. I'm assuming they're going to go to a 3-4. But again, that's only going to be for a quarter of the defensive snaps anyway. It's not what's most important. We'll see. If they stick with the wide nine, they're in trouble. The wide nine is stale. It's been figured out. You've been running it for freaking 7 seasons. You don't have a wide nine coach. You have a wide nine D-line coach, but you don't have a wide nine defensive coordinator. I hope they let him do his thing. So this is going to look more like a LA Rams defense, 3-4. But I think what's interesting is not just the structure of it, but how he will deploy his personnel, namely the pass rush. For the last 2 years, the Niners have had the most vanilla pass rush in the league, whether it was Saleh or Sorensen. They just don't rush 5. And maybe it's because they don't think they have the corners to pull it off. I don't think that's necessarily it, because Lenore is good, and Renardo Green is good in man-to-man coverage. Stout's not bad in man-to-man coverage. I mean, you could argue that Green and Lenore and Stout are all better in man-to-man coverage than in zone. It's not like those guys are like incredible playmakers, but they run 4-4s, 4-3s, and anyway, they have great movement skills. Despite that, Robert Saleh rushed 5 on only 15% of opponent pass plays. I'm getting this from Sumer Sports, SUMER. On 633 total dropbacks against the Niners last year, Robert Saleh rushed 5 defenders 97 times. Not 5 or more. It's 15.3%. That's very, very conservative. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, with Raheem Morris, who has 2 good outside linebackers and a good pass rush, he rushed 5 on 34.6% of opponents' dropbacks, 217 out of 626 total dropbacks. So that's a way different philosophy. Saleh's philosophy is rush for hang back, play zone, encourage the check down, rally up, make the tackle, long drives, no explosives, bend but don't break. And when he has great defensive linemen, he can have a great defense. But the Niners are never going to have that D-line again while they're paying all this money to Brock Purdy and other people on the offense. They might have a good D-line men, but they're not going to have what they had 4, 5, 6 years ago, where it's like 6, 7 deep with 4 first-round picks or 5 first-round picks on. That's not going to happen anymore. So I love this. If they're really going to let Raheem Morris bring pressure and be aggressive, the defense could be even better. Robert Saleh's great. And it kind of frustrates me how conservative he can be at times, particularly against, offenses like Seattle, who have Sam Darnold, who's good but not great. I mean, at no point in the last 2 matchups could Robert Saleh force the game into Darnold's hands. Now you have a defensive coordinator who's going to bring pressure, going to play man-to-man behind it, and make life force these quarterbacks to actually hold the ball a little bit, as opposed to just standing in the shotgun, getting it and firing it right over the middle to someone wide open. I love that. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but I really do feel like Kyle Shanahan has figured out that having this vanilla defense doesn't work when you don't have, Hall of Famers all over the defense. This worked for Gus Bradley 15 years ago when there were Hall of Famers all over the defense. It works when you have Robert Saleh, probably because Robert Saleh can make anything work. He's very clever. If he decided he wanted to run a 3-4, he could probably make that work too. But I like the transition from just take away the explosives to no, let's put pressure on the offense, because I mean, I feel like that's given Kyle problems too. I mean, the wide nine is given him problems, but when he goes up against defenses like Minnesota, Brian Flores, who has all these creative pressures and plays and can play man-to-man coverage behind it, he struggles. He struggled against Steve Spagnuolo in the Super Bowl when he brought pressure. Maybe this will make Kyle Shanahan a better offensive coach, being around a coach who brings so much pressure from so many different ways that he's not necessarily, used to, exposed to with this. And this finally signals the end of the Niners' strange obsession with the Pete Carroll defense. I don't get it. Now, if you can have Robert Saleh, by all means, let him run it. He's hella good at that. But no one else. No one wants a Pete Carroll defense in 2026. Not even if it's run by Pete Carroll. So it's great that Kyle Shanahan finally let that go. The whole league figured it out. It's not effective anymore. And I like the idea of a guy who will rush 5 and play man-to-man coverage sometimes. It's more aggressive defense. It'll get the defense off the field. Now, you might give up some big plays, but it'll also be better on third down. Much better on third down, I would think. Now, some of these players aren't going to fit this defense. I think Lenore's a good fit. I think Renardo Green's a really good fit. If Gus Bradley had been the coach and they were going to play zone all day and ask their corners to be like run defenders, they might have got rid of Renardo Green. But now that it's Raheem Morris, I don't know. I think that's the kind of corner you want if you're going to be rushing 5 on third down. He's going to be playing press man coverage. That's what he did in college.